Welcome to Real English Voices.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited for today's conversation because honestly, Tom, I think I need to hear this just as much as our listeners do.
I think we all do, Ria. Today, we're tackling a beast that lives under everyone's bed. Or actually, it usually lives right on top of the couch while we are scrolling through our phones. Today, we are talking about how to stop being lazy.
Oh, that is the story of my life lately. It is so strange, Tom. I have all these big goals. I want to exercise, I want to read more books, I want to learn new recipes. But when the time comes to actually do it, I just freeze. I sit there and think, maybe I will do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the most dangerous word in the English language. It is fascinating you say that you freeze, Ria, because I think a lot of people misunderstand laziness. We think laziness is just enjoying doing nothing, but often it's not enjoyable at all, is it?
No, not at all. That is the worst part. When I'm being lazy, I'm usually feeling guilty. I'm sitting there watching TV, but in the back of my head, there's this voice screaming at me saying, Ria, get up, do the work. But my body feels like it weighs 1,000 kilograms.
Exactly. That's actually a very deep psychological concept. It's not just about being unwilling to work. It's often about being overwhelmed. We look at a task, let's say learning English, and it looks like this massive mountain. Our brain looks at the mountain and says, nope, that is too dangerous. Let's stay here where it's safe and warm. So laziness is actually a defense mechanism.
Wait, that makes me feel a little bit better. So you're saying I'm not a bad person? I'm just protecting myself from a mountain?
Precisely. You're not bad, you're just human. But the problem is that safety is a trap. It keeps us stuck. I remember when I was trying to learn to play the guitar. I bought the guitar, I bought the books, and then for 3 months it just sat in the corner gathering dust. Every time I looked at it, I felt bad.
So what changed? How did you pick it up?
I stopped trying to learn the guitar.
What? You gave up? That's terrible advice, Tom.
No, let me explain. I stopped telling myself I need to learn guitar because that was too big. Instead, I told myself, I'm just going to pick up the guitar and hold it for 2 minutes. I didn't even have to play, just hold it.
That sounds too easy. Did it work?
It worked like magic because the hardest part of any task is the friction of starting. It's the physics of inertia. An object at rest stays at rest. But once I was holding the guitar, I thought, well, I might as well strum one chord, and one chord became a song, and a song became 20 minutes of practice.
I love that word you used, friction. It's like when you're trying to slide a heavy box across the floor. The first push is the hardest. Once it's moving, it's easier to keep it moving.
That's a perfect analogy, Ria. So for our listeners who are trying to improve their English, don't tell yourself you have to study for an hour. That's too heavy. Just tell yourself, I will listen to this podcast for 5 minutes. That's it.
And usually, once they start listening to our charming voices, they won't want to stop, right?
We can certainly hope so. But you know, Ria, there's another layer to this. Sometimes we're lazy because we're perfectionists. We're terrified that if we try, we might fail or we might do a bad job.
Oh, that hits home. I do that with writing. I want to write a journal entry in English, but I'm afraid I will make grammar mistakes. So instead of writing a messy page, I write nothing at all. I prefer a blank page over an imperfect page.
That's the all or nothing mentality. It's a dream killer. We have to embrace the mess. Laziness is often just fear wearing a mask. We think, if I don't try, I can't fail. But really, by not trying, you have already failed by default.
That's powerful. By not trying, you have already failed. I need to write that down and stick it on my mirror.
Please do. And speaking of writing things down and learning, we've been talking for a while now, and I think we've used some vocabulary that might be tricky for some of our listeners.
I think you're right. We should take a quick pause to review.
Let's look at the 3 hardest or most interesting words we used in this first section. The first word is mechanism. I used it when I said laziness is a defense mechanism.
Mechanism usually refers to a part of a machine that makes it work, but in psychology, a defense mechanism is an automatic reaction your brain has to protect you from feeling bad, like anxiety or guilt.
Exactly. The second word is inertia. You mentioned this is from physics.
Yes, inertia is the tendency of an object to do nothing or to remain unchanged. If you are sitting on the sofa, your inertia wants to keep you on the sofa.
And the third word is perfectionist.
A perfectionist is someone who refuses to accept any standard short of perfection. They want everything to be flawless. It sounds like a good thing, but it can actually paralyze you and make you lazy because you are scared of making mistakes.
Great explanations, Ria. Now, do you have a question for our listeners to think about regarding this section?
I do. I want to ask everyone listening, what is one task you have been putting off for a long time simply because you are afraid it will be too difficult? Think about that honest answer.
That is a great question. Recognizing the fear is the first step. Now, let's get back to the conversation. We talked about just starting small. But Ria, what about our environment? Because I feel like my surroundings have a huge impact on how lazy I feel.
Oh, absolutely. If my room is messy, my mind feels messy. If there are clothes on the chair and papers on the desk, I just want to crawl into bed and hide. I cannot focus on work when there is visual chaos.
Visual chaos. That is a great phrase. It's true. Our brain is constantly processing everything in our field of vision. If there's clutter everywhere, your brain is using up energy just ignoring it. That drains your willpower battery.
Willpower battery? Is that a real thing?
Metaphorically, yes. Think of your willpower like the battery on your phone. You start the day with 100%. Every time you have to force yourself to ignore a distraction or force yourself to make a decision, the battery goes down. By 6 p.m., if your battery is at 5%, of course you feel lazy. You're empty.
That explains why it is so much harder to study English at night after a long day of work.
Correct. So one strategy to stop being lazy is to design your environment to preserve that battery. Make the good habits easy and the bad habits hard.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's talk about the phone. The smartphone is the ultimate laziness machine. It's designed to be addictive. If your phone is right next to you while you're trying to study, you have to use willpower to not look at it.
And that drains the battery.
Yes, so put the phone in another room. Put it in a drawer. If you have to stand up and walk to another room to check Instagram, you're much less likely to do it. You're adding friction to the bad habit.
I actually tried that last week. I put my phone in the kitchen while I was cleaning the living room. I finished cleaning in 20 minutes. Usually it takes me an hour because I stop every 5 minutes to check a message.
See? You removed the distraction and your efficiency skyrocketed. You weren't lazy, you were just distracted.
But Tom, what about when you are just genuinely tired? Sometimes I feel like I am being lazy, but actually I'm just exhausted. How do you tell the difference?
That is such an important distinction, Ria. We live in a culture that praises being busy. We think if we're not working, we're wasting time. But rest is productive. You cannot drive a car without fuel.
So, how do I know if I need to rest or if I'm just procrastinating?
Ask yourself this, if I do this task, will I feel energized afterwards or will I collapse? Or try the 10-minute test. Tell yourself, I'll do this work for 10 minutes. If after 10 minutes you still feel completely drained and unable to function, then you need rest. Go sleep. But if after 10 minutes you feel okay and you're getting into the flow, then you were just dealing with laziness.
That's a really practical tip because usually once I start, I realize I have more energy than I thought. It's the mental block, not physical fatigue.
Right. And sometimes laziness comes from a lack of clarity. We don't do the work because we don't know exactly what to do.
Oh, I get that. Like, if I say I need to clean the house, that's vague. Where do I start? The kitchen? The bathroom? The floors? I get confused, so I sit down and watch a video instead.
Exactly. Vague goals produce vague results. Specificity is the cure for laziness. Instead of saying, I will study English, say, I will listen to one episode of Real English Voices and write down 5 new words.
That's so much clearer. I can see the finish line. When I can see the finish line, I'm more motivated to run the race.
It's about shrinking the challenge. Make the steps so small that it's impossible to say no.
I like that. But Tom, I have a question about the people around us. Do you think laziness is contagious?
Oh, definitely. We are social creatures. We mirror the behavior of the people we spend the most time with. If all your friends spend their weekends just sitting around complaining and doing nothing, it is going to be very hard for you to be the one person who gets up and goes for a run.
That is scary, but true. I notice that when I'm with my active friends, I want to be active. When I'm with my friends who just love to chill, I become a potato.
A potato. I love that. A couch potato.
Yes! So we need to be careful about who we surround ourselves with?
You don't have to cut off your friends, but you should seek out accountability partners. Find someone who has the same goals as you. If you know someone is waiting for you to study with them, you're much less likely to be lazy because you don't want to let them down. Social pressure can be a good thing.
That is true. I would never skip a recording session with you, Tom, because I know you were waiting for me.
And I appreciate that, Ria. We keep each other on track. Now, I think we have covered some really interesting ground here regarding environment and social circles. It might be time for another summary.
I agree. Let's do it.
Okay, let's look at the 3 key words from this second segment. The first word is chaos. We talked about visual chaos.
Chaos means complete disorder and confusion. When your room is messy, it is in a state of chaos.
Right. The second word is distinction. I used it when we talked about the difference between being lazy and being tired.
A distinction is a difference or contrast between similar things. It is important to make the distinction between needing sleep and just avoiding work.
And the third word is accountability.
This is a big one. Accountability is the fact of being responsible for what you do and able to give a satisfactory reason for it. An accountability partner is someone who checks on you to make sure you are doing what you promised.
Perfect definitions. Now, Ria, what is the question for this section?
My question for our listeners is this. Look at your environment right now. What is one distraction you can remove to help you focus better? Is it your phone, the TV remote, a messy desk?
Excellent. Small changes in the environment lead to big changes in behavior. Now, Ria, I want to shift gears a little bit. We've talked about tactics, moving the phone, the 2-minute rule, but I want to talk about identity.
Identity? You mean like who we think we are?
Yes, I believe that true long-term change happens at the identity level. If you tell yourself, I am a lazy person, you're going to act like a lazy person. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I do that all the time. I say, oh, I'm just not a morning person, or I'm just naturally disorganized. I treat it like it's my DNA.
But it's not your DNA. It's a habit, and habits can be broken. If you constantly reinforce that label, your brain will try to align your actions with that label. You need to change the story.
So instead of saying, I am lazy, what should I say? I'm a productivity machine? That feels like a lie.
It doesn't have to be extreme. You can say, I'm the kind of person who shows up, or I'm a learner. When you're faced with a choice to sit on the couch or to go for a walk, ask yourself, what would a healthy person do? And then just try to cast a vote for that identity.
Cast a vote. I like that. Every action is like a vote for the person you want to become.
Exactly. You don't have to be perfect. You just need the majority of the votes to win the election. If you study English 5 days a week and skip 2 days, you still win the election. You're still a student.
That takes so much pressure off. We beat ourselves up so much for the bad days. We focus on the 2 days we missed and forget the 5 days we worked.
And that guilt leads to more laziness. It's a vicious cycle. We feel bad, so we hide from the work, which makes us feel worse. To stop being lazy, you have to forgive yourself for being lazy in the past.
Wow, forgive yourself for being lazy. That is surprisingly emotional, Tom. I think a lot of us carry guilt from years ago. I should have learned English 10 years ago.
But you can't change 10 years ago. You only have today. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
That is beautiful. It's never too late to change the narrative. But Tom, what about the reward? I feel like sometimes I'm lazy because the reward for the hard work is too far away.
That's the problem of delayed gratification. Our brains are wired for instant rewards. We want the chocolate cake now, not the healthy body in 6 months. We want to speak fluent English now, not study grammar for a year.
So how do we fight that biology?
We have to bring the reward closer. We have to make the process itself rewarding.
How do you do that with something boring, like cleaning or doing taxes?
Pair it with something you love. This is called temptation bundling. Only allow yourself to listen to your favorite podcast while you're cleaning. Only allow yourself to eat your favorite snack while you're studying English.
Oh, that is clever. So I look forward to the cleaning because I get to hear the podcast.
Exactly. You are hacking your dopamine. You're training your brain to associate the hard task with a positive feeling. Eventually, the hard task becomes less painful.
I have to try that. I have a really good audiobook I want to listen to. I'm going to make a rule. I can only listen to it when I'm at the gym.
That is the perfect application. You will actually want to go to the gym just to find out what happens in the book.
It seems so much of stopping being lazy is just tricking your own brain.
It really is. Our brains are primitive. They want to save energy and stay safe. We have to use our higher intelligence to outsmart our primitive instincts.
It is a battle between the couch potato brain and the ambitious brain.
And the ambitious brain needs a strategy to win. It cannot just rely on willpower. Willpower is weak. Strategy is strong.
Tom, I feel like this conversation has given me so much energy. I actually want to go do something difficult right now.
That is the spirit. But before you run off to conquer the world, let's do our final summary for the listeners.
Right, I almost forgot. We had some deep concepts in this last part.
We did. Let's look at the 3 words for this segment. First is prophecy, specifically a self-fulfilling prophecy.
A prophecy is a prediction of what will happen in the future. A self-fulfilling prophecy happens when you predict something, I will fail, and because you believe it, you act in a way that makes it come true.
The second word is gratification, as in delayed gratification.
Gratification means pleasure or satisfaction. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist the temptation for an immediate reward and wait for a later, better reward.
And the third word is dopamine.
Dopamine is a chemical in your brain that makes you feel good. It's the reward chemical. When you check your phone or eat sugar, you get a hit of dopamine.
Excellent. And Ria, what is your final question for the listeners today?
My question is about identity. I want to ask, what is a positive label you want to give yourself? Instead of lazy, what word do you want to use to describe yourself starting today?
That is a beautiful question to end on. Words have power. Use them to build yourself up, not tear yourself down.
Tom, this has been such a helpful session. Do you have any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Just one. Remember that movement creates mood. A lot of people wait until they feel like doing the work. They wait for inspiration. But inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. If you wait until you feel like it, you'll be waiting forever. Act first, and the feelings will follow.
Movement creates mood. I love that. If you feel sad or lazy, move your body. The mind will follow.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, thank you for spending this time with us. You weren't lazy today. You spent time learning and improving your mind. That is a victory.
Yes, give yourself credit for being here. We believe in you. You have the power to change your habits one small step at a time.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
We will catch you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.